Good evening, everybody. We'll be starting in 1 minute to give 5 minutes from 7 to those who didn't have the opportunity to connect.
Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody
Morning.
here with us in a different time zone. And these are the wonders of Zoom meetings. I would like to ask you if you can please open your cameras so we can also see you guys. And my name is Michal Morgenstern-Daor, and I'm the Executive Director of the International School here in University of Haifa, in charge of the study abroad program, the short-term programs, and also the graduate programs that we are offering here in our international school. I'm 49 years old, I'm married and I have 2 sons, and I was born and raised in Haifa, moved a little bit around, also in the world and in the country of Israel, but always came back to Haifa. I've been the executive director of the International School for about 4 years. However, I've been working in the University of Haifa, the International School, for approximately 20 years. And this past year has been, I'm studying and completing my PhD also here in the University of Haifa in the Faculty of Education. I'm delighted to see you all with us, joining us tonight. For us, it's nighttime tonight at our virtual fair via Zoom, as I said. And first, it will be my pleasure if each of you can present yourself and just say a few words in introduction, your name, your position, what university or college are you from, and whatever else you would like to add. With me is sitting Michal Gottlieb, which Michal Gottlieb is our marketing director, and also on the Zoom together with all of you is Dr. Miriam Sivan, and we will also, so please Michal, present yourself. You start and then we go round and round.
So my name is Michal Gottlieb, also Michal, also born and raised in Haifa. I have an undergraduate in English literature, and I have a master's degree in education. I've been working at the international school the past 15 years of my life. So you can definitely say I grew up here alongside with my students. I have 2 kids, a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. So life is a little bit different than a teenager kids. I'm very excited to host this Zoom meeting with you because Michal and I honestly felt without NAFTA, without FORM, without any other conferences, any other things that's operating in the world, there was a need to meet with all of you and to share with you all that we have done in the past year and which we're going to present here in the presentation. So now I'm going to move the speech to Dr. Miriam Sivan, our academic advisor.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm talking to you from my apartment in Tel Aviv, even though behind me you see the beautiful background. This is actually the view from Haifa University, the building on my left that sticks out. I don't know if I can move, you can see, there you see, that's the international, that's the student building. That's where we're located, a beautiful, actually piece of architecture. And I'm originally from New York City, and I've been living in Israel for 25 years. And I teach literature in the international school in the study abroad program. I'm the academic advisor as well, as Michal said, and I also teach mostly American literature in the Department of English Language and Literature in the university, in the regular university, the not overseas part. But all studies are in English, in the English department, which is why my Hebrew never improves. So, and happy to see you all.
Okay, let me go. My name is Dr. Malik, and I am located here at the University of North Florida in sunny Florida. And it's in the city called Jacksonville, Florida. I did have the immense pleasure a couple of years ago to go to Tel Aviv and Jerusalem and meet the people of the University of Haifa, a great university. And I was hoping to have much more cooperation in our curriculum with the university. And I did send several emails to start this cooperation. So hopefully after this meeting, somebody can contact me and we can resume that effort to cooperate with the University of Haifa. I'm here the chair of the department at the construction management department. I had my PhD degree from University of Central Florida in Orlando. You probably know Orlando because of Disney, okay? So, I've been teaching here at the University of North Florida for about 21 years actually. And I'm looking forward to go back to Israel. The first time when I went there, I went with our governor, DeSantis, and it was a very, very successful mission. And I think that we achieved a lot. So I hope that we can cooperate in the very near future. Thank you.
Want to go next?
I can go. Hi, everybody. My name is Hannah Parton. I'm the study abroad advisor at Wesleyan University, which is in Middletown, Connecticut. I've been in my role for about a year and a half. And I guess a fun fact, I guess our claim to fame at Wesleyan is that we're the alma mater of Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote the musical Hamilton. So if anyone is a big Hamilton fan, that's where he went to school, at Wesleyan. So thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Ronald, do you want to go next?
I just have to jump in and say, I have to claim him also. I'm from Washington Heights, okay, in Manhattan, and he's my mother's neighbor. So I always have to hear about him. So.
I'm happy to go next. My name is Ronald Hemphill, and I work at the University Studies Abroad Consortium, or USAC for short. I'm a USAC program advisor, and I've been working advising students who are going on the Haifa program since the May of 2019.
And I'll just go after Ronald because I also work at USAC. My name is Emily Schmutz, and I am a program coordinator. I've been with USAC for the past 3 years, and I started off in their enrollment department, working with our Haifa program, getting students approved with their applications and whatnot on the USAC side. And now I've transitioned more into the back side of things and working directly with McCall and Jason at Haifa on the programs. And we've been working with them for a very long time, and we love our partnership with them and sending students. And I'm very happy to be here and to just, gain even more knowledge, because you never know everything.
I can go next. My name's Elise Collins, and I'm at Portland State University in Portland, Oregon. And I actually visited University of Haifa probably, I don't know, time flies. So it must have been maybe 4 years or something like that by now, maybe 5 even. And as an undergrad, I actually studied abroad in Jerusalem. So I spent about 6 months of my undergrad time there and loved it. And then actually just got back to Israel 2 summers ago in 2019. So that was really great. And I think I have a student, I was out on vacation last week, so I'm a little just catching up still, but I think our student finally arrived at Haifa. I think I heard that she was leaving on April 7th, which was last Wednesday. So hopefully by this point she's settled in and she's getting adjusted to her life, because she's been doing her courses virtually since the early part of February. And so I think at this point in time, she's probably moved in and maybe explored a little bit of Haifa and is starting her probably first full week of her studies there. So that's exciting.
Hello, I am Molly Pape. I'm an education abroad advisor with Kent State University in Kent, Ohio. So in my role, I've been in it for about 2 years now, but I oversee all of our bilateral exchange agreements. So I work with our outbound students who are going to our partner universities, as well as all of the inbound students coming to Kent State.
You want to go next?
Maybe me next. My name is Diana Stamfeld. I'm from Hungary, from the University of Public Service. I'm also a program coordinator for the Erasmus and for the ICM. And I'm working with the staff and with the lecturers.
I can go next. Hello, my name is Stefanie Schmutz and I'm from University of Constance in Germany. I'm working in the international office for almost 2.5 years, and I'm responsible for the exchange coordination with Israel here for staff and for student exchange.
Who want to go next?
I'm not sure who's next, but I'll jump in. I'm Amy Bergman from the University of Richmond, and I've been a study abroad advisor for, 20 years. And actually, I used to work at University of Idaho, where we had a very strong connection with USAC. So I'm glad to see the USAC folks here today. And that's it. And I'm gonna mute because I've got dogs working from home and they're barking. So we were lucky that they didn't bark for 1 minute.
I can go next. My name is Lindsey Heiser Barger. I'm a study abroad advisor at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. I've been with our office many years, but the Haifa program is new to my portfolio as of the late 2020. So I'm so excited to learn more about the program. I unexpectedly have a preschooler home with me today, so I'm going to stay on mute for most of our time today. Thanks.
Sasha, I think, didn't go. Sasha, Stefania? No? Someone else want to introduce himself? Okay, so I think we're going to start with our presentation. Okay.
Okay, so a little bit about highlights of our university. We give a high respect and we emphasize academic excellence. We offer programs that are coordinated academically with the rector's office. The rector's office is in charge of the international school, and we work very closely with the vice rector. Other thing that is very important to us here in the international school is to point out the diversity of our university and of our city of Haifa, and I will talk about it a little bit more further on when I speak about the city. And it's very important for us to say again and again that our students live together in the dorms and study together in the classrooms with Israeli students, and also the international school is diverse in the origin and in the students that are studying with us, not only students from the USA, but also students from Europe and students from Asia. And the third thing that we put an emphasis on is innovation, and we offer workshops with extracurricular courses, and we also bring professors that are not only from the academia, but professors that are working in the field and can bring actual examples and can take the students to visit NGOs, to visit high-tech hubs, and to show them exactly what it means when we speak about innovation. We already presented ourselves. I would like to just add one sentence that is very important for me. It's a sentence from Margaret Mead that says that children must be taught how to think and not what to think. As I presented the university, three main things. This is something that I highly respect and live and also work by. Together with me, as I said, is Michal in the marketing department. Most of you also know Jason Hochman from the admission office, who works together with Sarah, and they are in close relations with all students as the students are registering and sending all their materials. And the prior stage for that is Shirin from our recruitment office, and Shirin is the one that is giving the students or the applicants all the information and all the questions and all the answers prior to their admission. As I said a little bit about the city of Haifa. We are the largest city in the northern of Israel. We are built on the slopes of the mountain Carmel. I was speaking about the diversity, but in a few minutes we are going to show you a short movie that I think is much more explaining and much more visual than what I am saying. As you will see in all the pictures that are following our presentation, Haifa is also a port city, and most people, when they think about Haifa, see in front of their face the Baha'i Garden, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And as I spoke about innovation, it's also because down the hill we have what we call Matam area, which is the Israeli largest high-tech industry center. and there you can see a lot of companies that are situated like Intel, Microsoft, Google, Yahoo, Philips, and so on. So now Michal will put the movie for us.
Welcome to Haifa. Well, you're not here, but I am. This is the largest city in northern Israel, where the Great Carmel Mountain meets the blue Mediterranean Sea. Here are 7 facts you need to know.
אנחנו לא רואים.
Haifa is a diverse city, where Jews, Christians, Muslims, Jews, Baha'is, and others coexist. The Holiday of Holidays festival is a celebration of the religious and cultural diversity of the city.
לא רואים.
Welcome to Haifa. Well, you're not here, but I am. This is the largest city in northern Israel, where the Great Carmel Mountain meets the blue Mediterranean Sea. Here are 7 facts you need to know about Haifa. Haifa is a diverse city, where Jews, Christians, Muslims, Druze, Baha'is, and others coexist. The Holiday of Holidays festival is a celebration of the religious and cultural diversity of the city, and takes place every December. The beautiful Baha'i Gardens, the center of the Baha'i faith, is probably the most iconic site in Haifa, attracting over 500,000 visitors a year. These are the 19 terrace gardens leading to the golden shrines of Baha'i. Baha'i, how you doing? This charming train in Haifa, the Kalmanit, holds the unique title, the shortest railway line in the world. Although it's technically a cable car moving on track rather than hanging in the air, moving up and down the mountain. A ride from the first stop to the last stop is only 8 minutes, so don't fall asleep here. This is the Cave of Elijah, a holy place for Jews, Christians, Druze, and Muslims. According to traditions, Elijah the prophet took refuge here during his wanderings in the Carmel wilderness. And here we are thousands of years later still talking about it. But he never prophesied that. This city is crazy about soccer. Maccabi Haifa is one of the most decorated teams in Israel. And the Sami Ophel Stadium is one of the largest and newest in Israel. It can seat 31,000 people that know more about soccer than I do. The largest film festival in Israel and the Middle East takes place here in Haifa. Every year, leading filmmakers from Israel and around the world come here for 10 days of excellent cinema. 10 days of excellent cinema. That's a good name for a movie. Did you know that the only Japanese art museum in the Middle East is here in Haifa? The Dakota Museum showcases exclusively Japanese artwork, music, and dance performances. I think it's only fair that Japan has an Israeli art museum. This is Haifa only in a nutshell. We left Haifa's food, the port, and the famous Technion Institute of Technology for our next video. And of course, the stories of the amazing people here. If you care, share.
So I hope this gave you a little taste of the city of Haifa and what we offer. And next slide, please. A little bit about our University of Haifa. University of Haifa has been founded in the year of 1972. We are the home of 7 faculties, 54 departments, 8 schools, 72 research centers and institutions, and other special programs. Our faculties are the Faculty of Law, Faculty of Humanities, Faculty of Social Science, Faculty of Social Welfare and Health Science, Faculty of Education, Faculty of Natural Science, Faculty of Management. The University of Haifa is home for more than 18,000 students. This is an upper look from the sky view of the university and the different buildings. We also have a virtual tour of the university that is coming out in the next few weeks in English, so students can view it before they arrive to campus, and they also can use it to orientate when they are on campus. A little bit about the ranking of the University of Haifa. We are a top 42 university in the world in the field of communication studies, top 76 up to 100 university in the world in the field of education, 100 to 150 in the field of public administration, 150 to 200 in the field of political science, and top 200 universities in Israel in the field of marine science. And in the field of marine science, we are also the first top one in Israel. We can't avoid the topic that has been on our table for the last year. Just a few words about our situation here in Israel and updates. As you were told earlier by Lindsey, that her students arrived to Haifa. By Alice, that her student arrived to Haifa. So our airport was closed for a couple of weeks, but it has opened again, and students have started to arrive from last week again to Israel. The process of students arriving to Israel since COVID has been very different, and the rules and regulations have been changing all over this past year. When everything started last March, we had students here on campus that were called back home, so we needed to help them to do all the arrangements, to find flight tickets, to check out from the dorms and to arrive to the airport. And then we had to change all the schedule because students went back to the USA or to China, and the time zones were different. So we had to change all the schedules so it can fit students that are not in Israel. And our professors were very cooperative, and they taught the courses at nighttime Israel time. And we insisted on continuing and opening the fall semester, and we had a relatively small fall semester 2020, but we continued and we offered courses, and students did arrive to Israel until now. And also now, students that enter Israel have to be 14 days in quarantine, or if on the 9th day of their quarantine they do a COVID test and it's negative, so they can go out from the quarantine on the 10th day. And this is still valid also now, with the new students coming in from last weekend. Some procedures have also changed, because it's not only they don't only have to have a student visa from the consulate, but they also have to have an entry permit. But we are helping and we are moving along with all the bureaucracy and helping students receive everything as soon as they can. The quarantine can be done here on campus in the student dorms. We are authorized by the Ministry of Health of Israel to quarantine, to students to be allowed to be quarantined here. And we are following the rules and regulations of the Israeli Ministry of Health. As I said, it changed all around this year, together with quarantines, shutdowns, lockdowns, all kinds of regulation, wearing the mask. We are still wearing a mask outside and also inside. But as we all, almost all the population here in Israel, I think about 5 million, are already vaccinated with the Heiser vaccine. So everything is gradually opening. Restaurants are open again. They opened concerts. Hotels are open. You have to show that you are vaccinated in order to get inside. But everything is working. Public transportation was working all the time. Shops and supermarket was working all the time. And we are really gradually seeing ourselves going back to life, going back to school. The university has started to teach face-to-face with also with regulations of students having to show that they are vaccinated and in the entrance. But we have here in the university courses that are taught hybridically, when some of the students are in the classroom with the professor and some of them are still continuing to connect via Zoom. Here in the international school, we are waiting to have all the students that could not come in the beginning of the semester in order to resume our studies and to start also to teach hybridically. It's also allowed right now to go on trips and tours and to have activities. Last week we were allowed to have a memorial service for the remembrance of the Holocaust survivors, and we were allowed to have up to 80 people inside the room. So our students helped us, and we had this a memorial service that they participated in, together with a testimonial from a Holocaust survivor. It was very moving. It was also moving from two reasons. First of all, the ceremony, and the second one, it was the first time that we were allowed to sit together with such a large number of students in the same room. And I can tell you, we have been missing these meetings and seeing the students and speaking to them and being part of their experience here in Haifa. And we are very happy that gradually it's coming, and it looks like we are going back to our regular life here in Israel. Students that come in have the health insurance, the Israeli health insurance, so they can also receive the Pfizer vaccination if they want. After they go out from the quarantine, they can take the first shot, and after 3 weeks, the second one. It's part of the health insurance, and it's something that is provided. Of course, we don't force anybody to take it. It's their choice if they want to do it while they are in Israel.
Do you have any question about this subject? I'll give you a few minutes to answer us.
So could I just have a clarification, just because I think I missed it. Did you say that students need to show a vaccination card to be on campus, or was that for something else?
Only if they want to enter the classroom.
Okay.
Around the campus, you don't need to show anything. You can just enter. But if you want to enter the classroom together with other students, then you have to show that you are vaccinated.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I wanted also to add to what Michal said, is that a wonderful things that we've been seeing in the past week in Israel, as in many other countries. It's now a holiday season, it's now spring season, it's very hot outside actually, and you see little by little life is going back to routine due to the vaccination. There are concerts going on, people are going literally to the beach, people are going out shopping, people are sitting in coffee shops. It's ridiculous that I'm saying this, but these are actually scenes we were not used to seeing the past year. Now we're seeing it, so it's weird for us, but this is actually the normal world we're living in.
A little bit about our student body. As I mentioned before, the diversity of students that are studying here in our campus, students from universities, as I said, from the US, from Europe, from Asia, As I mentioned, we had a smaller semesters of the fall and the spring this year, with students still under the restriction of their home university, and most of them were not able to study abroad this year. But the students that did register and did arrive to Israel, so we wanted to share with you the list of the institutions that we were working with this year. This is just to make it visual what I said about the distribution of our students.
It's usually 50% are from North America, but I think what is beautiful about our programs is that students are not only studying with students from their own home universities or colleges in their home states and countries, rather from people from all over the world, and then they're coming to Haifa and meeting a large population from Israel. Some of them are speaking Hebrew, some of them are speaking Arabic, some of them are speaking Russian. Many of the students at the universities are coming from the city of Haifa, but many of the students coming from other cities in Israel, other kibbutzim, other moshavim, other villages, and you see different connections of students from different countries and then from Israel. Personally, I can share, I was in a wedding of a former student of mine. She was from Boston, she went to BU, and he was from Denmark. And now they're living in the US and they met here in Haifa, and they actually decided to do the wedding here in Haifa. So I had an amazing opportunity to take part in it. So it was beautiful to see the connection, first of all, and of course to be part of it. And I was not the matchmaker.
Our international school, we were established about 35 years ago, and the student body of the international school is about 1,200 students yearly, and our students arrive from a variety of 45 countries, and our international school offers study abroad programs, language programs, graduate programs, and also special summer programs. Because most of you are working and advising students, then just a few words about our admission process. In order to start the application for the admission, student has to have a GPA of 3.0, 2 academic letters from professors that are recommending the students to come to study abroad, an official transcript, of course, study abroad approval form, because we want to make sure that the student also can transfer his credits after finishing the semester or the year here in Haifa. A student has to submit a personal statement, medical forms, and also other bureaucracy of dormitory contract if he wants to live in, or he or she wants to live in the dorms. And as I said, the health insurance form, which is mandatory, and we cannot complete the application process without it. And this year has proven that this status is very important in the application process and in the life of the students afterwards here in Haifa and in Israel. The variety of topics that we are teaching here in the international school you can find in this slide. I also forgot to say that we are recording this session, and we will send all this information after we finish the session via email also. Now I would like to have you meet Dr. Miriam Sivan, that has spoken for a few minutes in the beginning. Please, Miriam.
Dr. Sivan?
Okay. Yes, I am. I didn't realize I was on mute. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about five, is it 5 or 4? Let me check again. We have 4 study tracks among all our courses. Here we go. Thank you for changing the slide. 4 study tracks. These tracks are not mandatory. A student doesn't have to take a concentrated discipline when they study with us. We actually have no requirements other than that students must take between 12 and 18 credits, and that they need to be very clear with their home university if their home university has requirements. For example, if they have to take a language course, or if they have to take some kind of introductory course, or whatever. But we don't require any kind of course, but we do make available what we call these study tracks, which are courses that that if they want to take 1 or 2 or more, and I'll talk about them in a minute, they will come away with you know, a more comprehensive knowledge. And we have begun to also write the study track name on their transcript. Okay, so they could go home to their home university, and also if it's pertinent to them, let's say for their master's, to application if they want to continue in their studies, and say, you know, I did for example, a track in Arab culture and civilization when I was studying abroad, and I spent quite a number of time, you know, focusing on that particular a body of knowledge. So our first track that I'll talk to you about is called Social Innovation and Impact Entrepreneurship. This is actually very new. We don't have courses yet. They're being developed now for fall for 2021 and 2022. But we are very confident that students will be interested in this field, right? Social innovation seeks the transformation of society through innovative solutions, trying to bring change to social issues through technological innovation and impact entrepreneurship. I have to admit, this was a new term for me, but it's quite interesting and important point of view. Impact entrepreneurship refers to enterprises that are ethical, transparent, and make a positive impact on the social or environmental problems. It's an entrepreneurship approach, right? A business approach to the many needs that we have in our world. Okay, so that's going to be one track. We'll have, I can't say now, I don't want to be bound to it, but we'll have a number of courses in that. The other 3 tracks are tracks that have we've been offering for many, many years. The Arab Culture and Civilization track, right, offers in-depth curricula in Arab culture, civilization, and language. We have 6 courses altogether in this track. In addition to Arabic language, both spoken Levantine Arabic and modern standard Arabic, right? The reading and writing of classical Arabic. All these, I won't read to you the names of, well, just to give you an idea, so I guess I will, right? We have a course in contemporary Arab thought and culture that Dr. Rana Zahir, who you'll be seeing later on in our presentation, she'll be talking about that, and the other course that she teaches, which is actually Women in the Arab World. That's what she's going to talk to you a little bit about. We have a course in Middle Eastern social and political, social and cultural history, and a course on the Palestinian Arab citizens of Israel, and others. Our next track, the Peace and Conflict Studies track, is interdisciplinary. It focuses on the cultural, economic, educational, political, psychological, religious, and social aspects of conflict resolution and peace efforts. It draws many international students who use Israel as a laboratory for examining issues related to our regional and geopolitical conflicts and the pursuit of peace, but it's not just limited to the Middle East, okay? Courses can also be about other hotspots in the world. And we have 6 courses in that track as well. And I will not read you the courses aloud. All our courses are available that you can see on our website along with their syllabi. And then the last track is the psychology track. We have 4 courses in the psychology track. You'll be hearing from Dr. Kim Yuval later, who teaches a course in refugees' mental health, global and local perspectives. So the students have a choice. It's 4 courses over the year, 2 each semester. And what we also have as part of the track, which is quite unique, I have to say, to Haifa, which is an option for students who are psych majors at home. Okay, it's for psych majors at home who have a 3.2 GPA minimum and who have already taken psychology courses beyond the introductory level. And if they choose, obviously, we pair them with a psychology lab on campus. We have many labs on campus. For some reason, this has gotten very developed. The psychology research department is very vast, and many of the professors running the labs are open to our joy, are open to having one of our BA students come into their lab and work with them. They do a variety of different things. It depends, at what stage of research the lab is at. I can tell you a number of years ago, we had a student actually from the Czech Republic who was here also for the entire year. And he worked in the same lab the entire year. And when the professor published a paper, he was actually named on the paper. It was very exciting for everyone, especially for him. And this is a unique opportunity. Many psych labs won't let a BA student in. And here it's part of Israel's, in exciting ways and sometimes also in frustrating ways, very flexible. Very people are flexible, understanding, they see a human being in front of them, they're like, oh, okay. So this mentored research in a psych lab is also part of the psych track. And we always have students in it, even this semester, where we have a small number of students. We have 1 student in a psych lab, and she loves it. It's a wonderful opportunity, and it's a course, right? They get 3 credits for it. They have to commit to 10 hours a week in the lab. Actually, we have 2 students in psych labs this semester. And at the end of their semester, they have to write a paper that the professor has to obviously read and grade. And so those are our 4 tracks, and students can take any of the courses without declaring a track. As I said, they can just take 1 psych class if they want. They don't have to commit to a track, but we offer this option for those who do want to go into greater depth. So thanks.
A little bit also about our summer programs. This summer, although, as I said before, students are starting to come into the classrooms, but because we are not sure what will happen until we start the summer courses, then we will still teach online this summer. We are offering 2 academic online courses. One of them is Arab-Israeli Relations, which is a course that is taught also during the semesters, and we have been having it for the past 2 summers with Dr. Daniel Zissenswein, and we also had this course running this winter. And another course for green entrepreneurship with Dr. Kobi Bar. Dr. Kobi Bar is new in our international school, but has been teaching for many years in the MBA programs here in the University of Haifa. And we asked him to build a new course for us in green entrepreneurship. It's not totally new. It's a course that, as I said, he's been teaching for many years in the MBA programs. And we are going to also have this course open this summer for students that would like to study online. As in all other years, we are offering our intensive Hebrew language course this summer. Our teachers had a lot of practice, and the last year they have been teaching online for 4 semesters already, and they know all the gadgets and all the ways how to use the Zoom and via the Moodle system of the university. We are also offering a spoken Arabic course online this summer. This course has been running also for several years, face to face, and for the last summer and this summer it will be online. And an online modern standard Arabic course that is also gonna have lectures about Arab folklore and Arab culture.
Okay, so a little bit about our, in a way, extracurricular activities. We are offering 2 programs in which students can literally be part of the population in Israel, to get to know actual Israelis outside of campus and not in their classrooms and not in their dormitories. One of the programs is our internship programs. It's an amazing opportunity for students to integrate. They literally go to a workplace, whether it's an NGO, like a shelter for battered women, whether it's an organization that works alongside with Arab speakers and Hebrew speakers, or it's a Heiser company, and students go to this organization and start working there and are part of the working environment. So they are getting a set of skills as how to work in a day-to-day basis, especially in a stressful environment like Israel environment or Israel employment market, but also a great opportunity to try to communicate in different languages, whether it's Hebrew, whether it's Arabic, it depends what the type of the organization they choose. We have an internship coordinator following them, and they have to write a paper at the end, and they get actually academic credits for that. And having said that, obviously in the past year, we did not operate the internship opportunities since they were unable to travel and to work in the workplaces, and many of the workplaces actually told us they're not accepting people out of capsules. Another amazing project we have is a volunteering project in which students meet once a week for about 2 hours, again in different organizations. They don't get credit for that, but for all of the students who have done volunteering in the past, they've been working with mainly with kids with all kinds of difficulties, whether immigrants speaking Russian or Amharic, whether it's a low socioeconomic difficulties that the family has been dealing, and we've been giving them English lessons. And in a way of an English lesson is not teaching a class. It's more just meeting the students, painting with him a paint and telling him this is the sun and this is the moon and this is how we say it in English, and the kids is telling this is how we say it in Hebrew. Another project that we have been doing in the past is working with Holocaust survivors, and the Holocaust survivor just want to sit in front of whether it's in English language or German language or Italian language or Russian language, and just to share those stories. So we believe it's an amazing opportunity for students, and as I've said, it has encountered difficulties due to COVID-19, like the rest of the stuff we've been doing. And another opportunity we offer our students is on and off social activities. During a regular semester, we offer about 2 weekend hikes and 1 tour to Jerusalem as part of the social activities, as well as weekly meetings with our RA, and students can travel to places they will never reach by themselves, and we're having a tour guide that speaks English and can explain to them about Jerusalem, about the history, and hiking in areas that us for Israelis we've never been unless you have a professional tour guide taking you there. And it's also built the community. Students sleep outside and they cook their own dinner and they cook their own breakfast and they sit under, Michal likes to call it a million
Stars Hotel.
Million Stars Hotel. Yeah, we have high levels here at the international school. We don't have tents, so they literally sleep under the sky in sleeping bags, at least that we provide. And this is part of how they see the country. It's not they're not touring the country. They're doing a study abroad and they're living like the Israelis living. A lot of the Israelis hike during the weekend and travel during the weekend. Both Michal and I are traveling with our families and doing hikes during the weekend. So they live in the Israeli way. And I would like to introduce, I saw they already joined us, Jacob Hofstein from Duke University, followed by Carpenter from the US Naval Academy. So, Jacob, Caitlin, do you want to present yourself?
Jacob, take it away, your slide.
Here, Caitlin, I'm taking this to the other side. Okay.
You got it, Caitlin. You can go first.
So who goes first, guys?
Okay, I'll start. Hey everyone, my name is Caitlin Carpenter. I'm a student at the US Naval Academy and I'm studying abroad here at the University of Haifa for the semester. I'm actually an Arabic major studying in a majority Jewish state. It's been really interesting. I've gotten to see and meet people of various backgrounds and also learn the language of the minority. So it's been really incredible, but I'm taking classes other than Arabic. I'm taking intercultural encounters, the Jewish history course, refugees mental health, and all of those have really brought in my understanding and just awareness and brought so much more value to my experience here in Israel. Just taking these courses and learning from the professors and hearing from other international students. It really broadens your your mind and your viewpoint as you take on Israel. I'm open to any questions that you have. Really guide the conversation. It's open. Yes, anything you have for me, I'm readily available.
How was studying in Israel or in Haifa during COVID? You've been in Israel for the past year or so, or semester or so I want to hear about your experience here.
Okay, so that's true. With COVID, it's been, it's been kind of difficult with online classes, I would say, but the professors are right there with me. So they really like to incorporate not just lecture, but guided classroom discussions and ask you how you felt about the readings and the films or anything that we discussed. We're still on online. We're still on an online and someone's mic is open.
Thank you. Do you want to continue?
Someone's mic is open. Okay, there was some echo. But we're still in an online learning environment. COVID, thankfully, has really improved, but a majority of the international students still haven't gotten here, but we're expecting within the next week or two to actually get in the classrooms. So that'll be great. While being here, I've been able to get both of my COVID vaccinations, which is way faster of a timeline than anyone else at my home in Alabama or my school at the US Naval Academy. So while the country's been opening up, I've been able to travel and explore and eat in restaurants that you probably haven't done in a really long time. Israel is just on a way faster timeline just because it's a smaller country, less people, and it makes COVID feel like it's disappearing. So that's how my experience here with COVID has been.
do anyone have a question to Caitlin about her experience and how it has been working for her here? Do you want to share about other courses you've been taking or other activities you were able to participate?
We said it again. I'm sorry, you broke out because of my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, would you like to share about other activities, your dorm's life, how it has been in the first week of Haifa?
Yes, of course. So I live in a dorm, in the Talia dorms on campus, and there's 6 rooms and a shared kitchen and a shared living area. It's fantastic. I come from a place where you have to live with a roommate, from 1 to 4. There's no room on your own. So having this space to myself has been really nice, and being able to cook with your friends has been great. Just last week, well, the campus here is actually hosting a lot of activities for the students who are on campus as the COVID situation progresses, more improves, I mean. And last week we actually we had the privilege of hearing from a Holocaust survivor on the Holocaust Memorial Day. Her name was Ida, and she was 93 years old. Her story was so powerful and impactful, and it's events like these that you wouldn't experience anywhere else. I'm really grateful for the University of Haifa and making sure that the students, myself included, are involved and have, aren't cooped up in our rooms. So that's been nice.
Thank you, Caitlin, so much for your time and for joining us today. I would like now to move to Jacob. Jacob, are you with
Hi.
us?
I am Michal. Did you get the message I just sent to you on Zoom?
I did. You can talk without a camera. It's fine.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Jacob Hofstein. I'm sorry right now. I can't turn on my camera. I'm at the bus station, getting off the bus right now. I'm on my way back from Tel Aviv, but I am a sophomore at Duke University in North Carolina. And this is my 3rd semester already studying abroad in Israel. I've spent more time of my schooling in this country than back in the United States for a reason. I keep coming back, and I was on 2 programs in high school here, studying with other American students. And this is my first time being at an Israeli university. And I really love it here for all the reasons Caitlin mentioned and more. I also am an Arabic major and taking classes in Arabic here, along with classes in the psychology and mental health of refugees, women's rights throughout the Arab world, and many other fascinating classes. I'd have to say my favorite part about being in an Israeli university, and the biggest difference from an American university, is being in America, there's such a pressure to get done with college by the time you're 22, to move on, to get a job. It's such fast paced. There's no time to sit back and relax. And in Israel, with everyone doing the military and doing military service till they're 21 or 22, and then usually taking a gap year to travel, schooling and university doesn't start until 3 to 4 years later. And they have these better life experiences and more experience out in the real world before they begin their schooling. And they really get to focus on things they know they're passionate about. They're older now, they have more clearly defined passions. And it's less like United States, where everyone is so focused on getting the good grade, getting into their preferred field as quickly as possible. And so everyone here does the education because they enjoy it and because they have a passion about it, and not just because it's what's expected of them and it's what you're supposed to do right after you get out of high school. And I really like that perspective of learning much better. About Haifa University in specifics, it's located on one of the most beautiful views in all of Israel. On the top of the mountain, you can overlook all of downtown Haifa. On a sunny day, you can see all the way up into Nahariya, into the Lebanon border, even in the north. The city of Haifa itself is also amazing. It's similar to the modernity and liveliness of Tel Aviv, but it's a little bit quieter, which I think, in my opinion, makes it even more inviting. And on the campus itself, there's, as Caitlin mentioned, many group activities, many guest speakers they've been able to invite, less so because it is a COVID semester. But as she said last week, meeting with the Holocaust survivor was unbelievable and a once in a lifetime opportunity. And the kids at the University of Haifa, from my understanding, it is, I think, the most diverse university in Israel when it comes to mixing of Israeli Jewish, Israeli Arab, Palestinian Arab students. And you really get such unique perspectives from learning here and from people from all over the world and all over Israel that really make it worthwhile.
Jacob, do you want to share a little bit about life during COVID?
Yes, of course. So during COVID, I've been in Israel for the past year, so I don't have much experience how it's been in the United States recently, but I know here life seems to be very, very close to getting back to normal. I've been able to go to multiple soccer matches throughout Israel. I'm a very big football fan here. I've been able to go to football matches with my Green Pass, which I received once I got both vaccinations, which I was able to get back in January. I've been able to go to restaurants, to bars, to a concert even recently. I've been able to fly domestically down to a lot, which I was lucky enough to for Pesach break. And it's really, really nice after how tough the past year has been to have a sense of normalcy. And Israel is one of the few, if not the only country on earth that has that sense of normalcy close to returning. And I've been really grateful and trying to remind myself that I'm lucky to be in this position, but I'm very thankful to Israel for providing that. And in the coming semesters, I can imagine it will be even closer to normal, if not fully normal.
Does anyone have a question to Jacob? Jacob or Caitlin, do you want to say one last sentence before we continuing with the presentation? About your experience here, about any more information you would like to share?
I definitely recommend coming to the University of Haifa and coming to Israel in general for a gap year, a gap semester, or even part of your college experience. For all the reasons we've mentioned, but also it's just a beautiful country and the ability to travel. And this is such a small country, so even once you're here, you can continue traveling and see the entire country in only a few months. It's really amazing. So much has happened in this country. There's so much history, so much culture, and it's such a valuable addition to my experiences and my learning back in America. And I can't recommend enough coming to Israel, and specifically from my few months here, even in a COVID year, coming to university.
Caitlin, do you want to say something before we continue in the session of the students?
Couldn't have said it any better. Jacob is so well with words. I definitely recommend the University of Haifa. If you're studying languages, the international school, in my experience just this past semester, has been very flexible. Finding the classroom that works for you, finding the level of language that you're at, challenging you and helping you get better so that you can speak with the local population. You can use it in a day-to-day life. And if you're unsatisfied with the class that you're in, talk to them about it, and they will get you in the class that you need to be. Other than that, just like Jacob, I've had so many experiences or opportunities to travel. This country is so very small that you will see it all. So it's beautiful, recommend for the studies and the views. It's great.
Thank you so much, Caitlin and Jacob. We highly appreciate your time and for joining us And thank you for everything. And thank you for choosing Haifa. This is the thing we love to say during normal daytime or normal days.
We always say that we know that you had choices, and thank you for choosing University of Haifa.
We're glad to be here. Thank you, guys.
So for a not so end session, we're going to present two of our most popular courses. The first course we're going to present with Dr. Rana Zaher, and the second course we're going to present is with Dr. Kim Yuval. Dr. Rana Zaher will introduce her course, Women in the Arab World. She will first present her course, and then you will have a few minutes to ask questions if you have, as well as Dr. Kim Yuval. And as I've mentioned, these are literally the most popular course we have. We have many students registering to this course. We have, and we would like to give you a small taste of what students are doing academically as well. Dr. Zal, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hey, how are you, everybody? Thank you, Michal, Miriam, and the rest of the International Schools crew for inviting me today. I'm very happy to be among you today. Let me introduce myself. My name is Rana, and originally I'm from Nazareth. It's a neighboring city to Haifa city, of course. I've been working for the International School for years now, for over than 7 years now, and I consider it as a home. It's a home for me now. In terms of my education and qualification, I have a PhD in sociolinguistics, but today I'm on my way towards my second PhD, but this time in sociology at Ben Gurion University. I'm going to introduce and talk about one of my favorite courses and one of the most popular one, apparently, in our department, namely Women in the Arab World. Well, my course actually adopts a non-Orientalist and a post-structuralist perspective. One that legitimizes different forms and different shapes of feminisms, and one that exposes students to different forms and shapes of struggles and women's rights discourses, probably different from or other than the ones that they have been normally exposed to, which are most probably the Western version of the feminist struggles. So my course actually my course will take the students into a journey around the Arab world, but not before, of course, familiarizing the students with the Arab world map first, with the Arab world cultures and subcultures, and probably, and most importantly, the Arab world's identity dilemmas and questions. After that, after setting the ground for that, we move from one Arab country to another, from one Arab context to another, in a journey that exposes the different challenges that women in these contexts, Arab and Eastern Muslim or non-Muslim women in these contexts face on a daily basis. But most importantly, we are there on this journey to also learn about how these women tackle and how these women address and approach these problems, how they try to solve them, and what the means and the agencies they employ in order to achieve their goals and promote their own agenda. And all that I do in an attempt to defy the stereotypical image or the stereotypical images many people, especially in the West, have about Arab / Muslim / Eastern women, images that usually, and based on, of course, studies and a lot of research, images that denote passivity and voicelessness and weakness. And this is an attempt to defy this picture and show the other side of the story, while not denying that Arab women in different Arab regions are sadly disadvantaged on almost all levels, economically, politically, academically speaking. But what I want to show my student, that this is not the whole story, and that there is much more than meets the eye behind the numbers and figures and statistics that international organizations and institutions usually release. So for example, we start our journey in Egypt. We go to Egypt, where it all started, where the Arab Middle Eastern secular feminist movement started, and which were later complemented by the birth of the Islamic feminist movement. For many people, these two words, Islam and feminism, may collide or may sound like contradictory, while they're not. We're going to see how educated Muslim women use the very tool which their society uses to oppress and suppress them, namely the Quran, in order to liberate themselves and promote their agenda. From there, for instance, we're going to go to Jordan, from Egypt to Jordan, where we're going to visit Bedouin tribes and learn about the Bedouin women's life circumstances and see how, for instance, they kind of cooperate with patriarchy, or maybe in better words, they negotiate with patriarchy and patriarchal agencies in order to achieve their goals, while trying to shake the credibility of patriarchy all the way towards their goal. Whether this is legitimate or not, to cooperate with patriarchy or not, this is another question which we also discuss in my course. Okay, so we leave Jordan and we move to, from Jordan, where do we go? From Jordan, go to Saudi Arabia, where we meet very brave women, Arab women, Saudi Arabian women, who have paid a very heavy price for the struggle they are leading. And we see how these women, for instance, make a very smart and educated use of the electronic media and the social media platforms in order to promote their goals and agenda. From there, we travel, we fly to Tunisia and see how the Tunisian women use the civil society and parliamentary channels in order to liberate themselves, given that Tunisia is actually the beacon of women's rights, Arab women's rights. It's the place which all Arab women look up to and try to imitate and even copy in terms of their patterns of struggle and the outcomes of these struggles. From Saudi Arabia to Tunisia, and from Tunisia, we go back to Israel, to the Carmel Mountain, where we visit two Druze villages, Usufia and Dalit el-Carmel, and we learn how Druze women use education as a tool of empowerment, and how they revolt against patriarchy and traditions, but through very, let's call them silent means. We call it the silent revolution. They revolted against patriarchy through education, and they made it big time. From Israel, we go back, not back, but actually we jump to Lebanon, and we see how Lebanese women actually use extremely patriarchal tools, like the exploitation of familial ties and familial networks to promote themselves. Again, is this okay? Is this ethical to use patriarchal tools in a feminist struggle? This is a question that can be argued for and against a lot in my class. And there are probably other two countries that I probably missed, but this is the idea of my course. No, you as students don't need to have or to bring your passports or to have a visa, but you need to come into my course with an open mind and a desire to learn more and to expose yourselves to non-traditional, probably non-traditional information or ways of learning. And that's pretty much it about my course. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer. Anybody? And plus, there are only 2 exams in my course, a midterm and a final.
Anyone have questions to Dr. Sivan? To Dr. Sivan, to Dr. Zaya? Okay, I think that's it. Thank you, Dr. Zaya.
Thank you very much.
Anytime.
Introduce our next lecturer, Dr. Kim Yuval.
Hi.
Hi, Dr. Yuval.
So I should begin. So thank you, Michal and Michal. And oh, just a second. Something. No background. Okay. Sorry, just a second. So hi, everyone. My name is Kim Yuval. And I've been teaching in the international school for the last 6 years, I think. And I'm going to present the course I'm giving since I began teaching in the international school, Refugees, Mental Health, Global and Local Perspectives. I'll start by introducing myself. I'm a clinical psychologist and a researcher. I'm doing clinical work in the open clinic for asylum seekers and people with no health insurance in Tel Aviv, and I'm giving support and training addressing secondary trauma and burnout in humanitarian and human rights organizations. This is what I'm doing clinically. Research-wise, my main field of research is refugee mental health, and I'm conducting the research in Haifa University and physically also in Tel Aviv, where most of the refugees in Israel are living in. I've been teaching in the international school different courses, also in the psychology department in Haifa University. And in today's very short talk, I wanna relate to the material, to the subject matter I cover, but also to the methodology of teaching, which is an integral, really important part for me in teaching and in touching the heart of the subject I'm talking about in the course. So, generally saying, I'll present my course, Contemporary and Armed Conflicts and Complex Humanitarian Crisis create substantial mental health burdens that damages health and well-being and limit development. In the course, I'm taking some kind of a multidisciplinary approach involving definitely psychology, but also sociology, anthropology, law, international relations, and so on, to examine this field of forced migration, while I'm focusing on psychosocial and mental health issues of the displaced population. And throughout the semester, I'm trying together with the class to look on forced migration as a global, to begin with, as a global phenomenon, and while learning to recognize and assess the influence on mental health of the millions, nowadays more than 80 million people that it affects around the world. We are doing it through reading and definitely through discussing academic papers, professional guidelines of different organizations, prominent theoretical debates within this field. We watch documentaries, we listen to personal testimonies of different people, and we have discussions with field workers in this field. And this course generally is built from 2 major models. The first one is giving some kind of perspectives on migration, on global migration, forced migration, in a more general and sociological point of view, also relating to international law and what does it mean to be a refugee and so on. And also take the general perspective from psychological point of view, touching the issue of that is very much connected to the basic experience of a refugee, like losing one's home, and many times, of course, the trauma that is accompanying it, So touching definitely the issue of trauma, which is a main and important issue. This is the first module that I'm working with. The second part of the course is focused more on local, on Israel, and we benefit from it, and we learn from Israel as an example of what we've learned, what we acquired in the first part. So looking and learning how the general concept and notion that we've learned appear in the Israeli reality. We touch the Israeli policy towards refugees, which is, of course, representing some level of understanding what's going on in Israel. It's a local example, but it also has a lot to do with what's going on in the world regarding refugee. It's connected to the political culture in Israel, and so on and so forth. And of course, all of this is affecting the psychosocial effects on the refugees that are in our focus. We learn about the origin countries that refugees come to Israel from, and the reason that made them leave their home countries. And of course, we are focusing on their experience. After learning about all these problems, we dive into understanding interventions. The final part of the course is understanding interventions. After learning how complicated and multi-layered our problems, we are trying to understand how to intervene, what obstacles and what challenges do we have, but also how do you plan it well, and how do you do it in different contexts. May it be Tel Aviv, may it be, I don't know, Berlin, or may it be Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya. We understand some level of how to plan an intervention. And the pivot event of this module, the second module of the course, is the field trip. During the field trip, what we do is all the classes is taking a bus to South Tel Aviv, and we visit the what I can call the hub of asylum seekers and refugees in Israel, which is South Tel Aviv and around the central bus station. We meet activists, we meet NGO workers and people that work in authorities that work with refugees. And of course, we meet asylum seekers and refugees for themselves, and we talk with all those people in an unmediated way. Saying a few words about the methodology of the course. To begin with, I say that my predisposition is not that I hold all the knowledge that the students need, and in some kind of miraculous way, they listen to me and now they gain it. My main idea, and I share it with my students, two of them were here today, I've listened to them, is that, and I'm stating in the first session, is that learning in the course is a reciprocal process, yeah? Everyone, I think definitely in international school and in international context, and in the context that we're talking about, speaking about refugees and asylum seekers, everyone has something to share and to teach others. And of course, everyone can learn from each other, not only from me. And the course is built upon that. So there is always, it's always true. But I think the context that people are coming from different origins, and people coming from Northern Europe and from United States and from Latin America and from Africa is very, very relevant and important here. Just a second, my daughter is. Sorry about this. So I think that people share experiences from their home countries is very, very relevant. And of course, the structure of the course and the structure of the teaching is built upon this, and mainly on discussions. I'll say two more things about the methodology. I'm asking for every session for students to write something, some kind of what I'm calling burning question about the text they read. It can be a very short thing, but it makes them some level of interaction with the text and with me before the class. And once every other week, they also need to write me some level of response paper, which is longer. And then we communicate around this. I'm writing a reply and some kind of discussion begins with the student even before the class. So this enables me to have some level of process of learning and being in touch with students along the week and even before the class, and prepare them and maybe even initiate beginning of discussion before the class. When we come to class, the discussions already began in one level or another, and also enables me to understand where the students are at, what they understand, what is less understood, and to relate to this. Moreover, I say that every student needs to give a presentation about a paper from the syllabus, or if someone prefers some topic beyond the syllabus, and this makes the whole process for me very different, and people are very much in touch with the topic. Of course, another element that give more volume to the interaction is what I'm calling, I'm inviting guests all the time to the course. It can be even a short visit, even sometimes people, definitely now during the Corona time, but also in other occasions, coming to 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and say and explain something about their work, if it would be NGO workers or people who work with the government in certain occasions, or refugees that share their experience of refugeehood, the reason they left their home, and what is their experience here in Israel. And I think this unmediated experience and the opportunity to talk with refugees, not through my understanding and not through my knowledge, but having an open interaction. This is really something that I hear from students year after year, that this it's really meaningful, and I think give a different perspective on things, and also I think politically, but also academically, it's the right thing to do to learn about this kind of experience. I'd say two more things. I say that sometimes this course, and I just mentioned it, of course, meeting refugees and listening to their experience, but also discussing in a higher level or maybe in more theoretical level trauma, can be emotionally consuming. It's not always easy, and I'm always preparing the students for it, and I'm always giving space for it while it happens, but it also I'm also inviting and giving space for some working through during the course. So if we are hearing a testimony of a refugee from Darfur, we are in the time afterwards, if it can be the next session, or just a second, sorry again. So after the testimony, we'll have time to process it as a group. As a group, we will talk about what kind of feelings rose within us while the person talked, and what it enables us to understand, and also what kind of challenges are coming from it, coming from meeting refugees with such hardships, and we can imagine what it is to work in a field work that involves meeting people with such hardships every day, and this is part of what we are doing. And the last thing I'll say that the final task in this course and the way the course is built is representing some kind of integration of everything we did in the course, and I'm inviting the students to plan an intervention after they're understanding the general process of forced migration and understanding the situation in Israel, and we are learning to what kind of intervention do we have in the field. Then I'm inviting the students to plan their own intervention. It can be here in Israel, it can be somewhere where they're coming from, and to look at it in a critical way, but also to do some hands-on, even only writing and planning something that can be translated into work in the field. And again, this course is not a clinical one, but we are doing some kind of simulation of how this thing can look like, and empowering people and pushing them towards doing some action if they want, or even imagining how this kind of action in this field can look like. Anybody has any questions? So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Yuval, and thank you, Dr. Zahir, for your time. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you very much. And I hope to see many students coming.
We're waiting for you.
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay. So now it's an open discussion. If you have any questions, if you want to ask Michal and I or Dr. Sivan, who's still with us, questions about the program, about the process, anything that was not answered during this presentation, this is the time.
I do have a question about the vaccines and students being able to take classes in person. So for the students that are going on site for the spring, but also in the future for the fall, if they have a personal reason for, not wanting to get the vaccine, will they have the option to still take the class online in Haifa, or would they not be able to participate?
Of course, they will have the option to take the class online, even if they are in Haifa, and maybe until the fall semester in October opens, there won't be any restrictions regarding the vaccination. I can tell you, just while we were speaking, middle schools were not working because children between the age of 12 to 16 are still not vaccinated, and they were working very partially, most of it online. And from coming Sunday, all of them are going back to study in classrooms, in the schools, no capsulate, all the classroom together. So maybe until October, regulations will change in terms of the university also, and you will not need to be vaccinated in order to get inside the classroom. But if you will, and students will choose not to get vaccinated, then they will be able to study from their rooms online, because we still have the options of using the hybrid classroom.
Okay, and for like the field trips and things like that, would they be okay not having the vaccine, or should they have that?
We were allowed to have one field trip during the fall semester when vaccinations were not available yet. So I think this will be the situation also next fall.
Okay.
Any other questions? Anyone else? So we highly appreciate your time and thank you for joining us. This was actually late evening for us, and also for European people to join us. It was regular morning for California time, and then noon for New York time. So we really try to have as many opportunities as possible. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. It was our pleasure, and if you think of something that you might want to ask and you didn't ask right now, or any clarifications or specific information that you want us to send, please send us an email. As I said, tomorrow morning we will send the presentation and everything we were showing tonight. So feel free to approach us again with anything that arises.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Goodbye.